It's interesting. You know, I think some people can muster the strength to get through almost anything. I don't think I've really, had something so um, momentous in my life that would do that. Um, and I don't, I have felt sad. I would say that probably sad is what I feel the most when something upsets me. I'm sad because I don't know why it's upsetting me. I'm sad because I do know why it's caused me to be sad. Or, but I've never felt really, even when I've been sick, I've never really felt fragile. I never felt the weight of like, I'm not going to be able to get over this. I've always kind of had to trust in the folks around me to kind of provide me with the strength and the ability to always, go on and muster. And I think that comes from a lot of having to raise myself. I didn't really have great parenting. So I think, I think that's kind of a strength that comes when you're having to figure out things for yourself when you're young. It's, and that makes me sad. It doesn't make me, but I can look back now and go, well, that made me the person I am, and I'm not really a bad person, So there must have been some good parenting. There must have been something. So that wouldn't bring me to my knees in fragility. Strange word, fragile. You think of bone china or life itself. I mean, yes, the loss of somebody can, I guess, I would say, bring you to your knees. But I would kind of think that, I don't know, can you say that I dealt with death well? I mean, what is dealing with death well? I don't know. I mean, again, I'm sad. And I'm sad not so much that, I'm sad that they died, but I'm sadder that they're not going to be around. They're going to miss their presence in my life. But I would say that I would almost say that the people I have in my life, my few friends, have that kind of ability too. We talk about the people we both knew, and are more celebratory because they were part of our lives. I think disappointment can bring you to your knees. Especially in my own self, and we've talked about this, about not being able to go as far forward as I think I could have gone had I not been afraid. a failure. Um, and but that didn't bring me to my knees. That didn't shatter my foundation. Do I not have a foundation? Do I have too strong of a foundation? Should I crumble? Should I break down? What would be the event that would make me? If David died, I would crumble. I would say because David is my foundation. Or if I felt that he stopped loving me, that probably might. In those cases, I'm probably quite fragile. I'm somebody who can choose to see humor and brightness rather than having a dark side. So I think I think it has something to do with morality, an issue of being, I'm a pretty good Boy Scout. All those things of Boy Scouts was, trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful. I try to be all those things. So maybe I'm just a little less than an Eagle Scout because I couldn't swim. I think I am most spiritual when I'm put in the position or in the setting of nature, of natural, just awe-inspiring beauty. We were at Dead Horse Point. Have you ever been there? It's somewhere in the loop that you take when you go to Durango and come up through Canyonlands and this thing. And it is an overlook that's almost like the Bend River or whatever, the river that goes like that and comes back out and then goes again, and it's on its way to the Grand Canyon. It's the Colorado, and you look down on it, it's way down there. And it's so beautiful. It's just I had to just sit down. And then when you realize the story that when the cowboys would go out and wrangle the horses, they would then cut the herd of horses and only take the ones that were that they thought would be a good horse, could be broken and the rest they put into a corral on the edge of the point, and they died. Immediately, after, it's very funny because I was in awe and I was in this very place, and then I was even more deeply spiritually moved just by the idea that man could do that horrible thing, and that the last moments of these creatures, these noble creatures who were put to a slow death on a promontory overlooking a vast canyon. It's like, well, jump or starve, whatever. And that, just being aware of that and being able to summon those, that sense of their spirituality and what happened in this place and what's still here of it, does this contribute to its beauty, that sacrifice of that, were they just horses? I don't know, it's And so I find that when I am in nature, it's very easy for me to find God, whatever God is, more than in, you know, or in my work or reading or anything like that. I find God in nature, I think. This is a good place for lesson learning, I think. Maybe I'm a learner. Maybe I'm an observer and can learn from what I've observed. Maybe that's who I am. Because I'm pretty amazed by humans. I think my drawings and my work is imbued with some spirit. And, you know, David actually tells the story, you know, when you see my studio, there's a kind of a mission statement about what causes me to make art, or why this particular pieces were made, and, you know, how they came to be, and, you know, and it's very interesting because David wrote it, and some of it I never thought about, and that made the connections between myself and my work, and what I was more or less not even thinking I was doing. My work began, this last one before this one, began with my picking up trash and just being amazed at this collection of trash I had just picked up almost in front of my studio. I never wandered too far off. Sometimes, you know, a machine piece or something would, you know, I'd see or something, and, you know, but the idea was that things have another life, and you can give them that. As an artist, you can take something and not even know that you're imbuing it with some particular spirit until that person who needs to be imbued sees it. And they go, well, how did I live so long without having this little drawing? Or, you know, I think more than myself, I think my work speaks to other people, you know, and that's a real thrill. My favorite part of it, of being an artist, is having somebody like my work and want my work. I've given away more of my work than I've sold because people like it. You know, it's just very easy for me to say, it's either going to sit on this shelf, and because I don't have a gallery or anything, and this work is something I'm not doing anymore. So does it sit on a shelf, or do I make a nice box and send it to Barbara? You know, it's when I worked in Mexico for a year, and I was always amazed about the trash that was on the streets, you know. But my friend who's Mexican said, you know, we smoke the cigarettes, and when they're gone, we crumple up the pack and we throw it on the ground. It's of no use. You know, we only keep things that are of use to us. And an empty cigarette package is like, there was a guy, and this is sticking kind of with the subject. There was a guy in New York who was a heavy smoker. And every day he would go out with a pack of cigarettes, and he would smoke them, and he would pick up things off the street. And he would put them in the empty plastic that goes around the cigarette pack. So then at the end of each day, he would go back to his studio and he would seal up that package, and then he would date it, and it would be like, it became like a giant wall of things he picked up in New York City while smoking. You know, how good is that? You know? Yeah. Makes you want to take up smoking. I wish I had, the one I wish I had as an artist, I wish I could drop something for 3 months and then go back and pick it up again. I can't. I can't go back. I have to go into something new. If I try to duplicate anything, or I can't remember how I got there or what the steps were or any of it. So, you know, I can't, I'm just influenced, now I'm just influenced by the walls of Santa Fe. Like everything I do is just in doorways and they're, as I work, they're getting more and more abstract. They're getting more, but, you know, it's not, unfortunately, it's not a real complex abstract, which I would like it to be because I'm dealing with kind of simple, undulating forms that don't lend themselves to being, I think everybody matures with age, and I think, if anything, I try to go, I'm still Peter Pan. I'm still an 18-year-old when I look in the mirror. I just never grew up. I don't know how that all happened. I just still, I think back on things and I go, when was that? How long ago was that? How long did I live there? What, you kind of like, as you age, I think you try and put some perspective on where you've been and where you're going and what's ahead. I think our earliest discussions were about preparing for the great horse corral in the sky. We'll choose to either starve to death or jump. And I think that has been a very valuable lesson for me. And I'm glad that our discussions started there. Because I think they've had a pretty good impact on me as far as creation is concerned, and time, and what's of value and what's not. And why can't I have more fun? I wish I could be more fun. I wish I could have more fun.
Yeah.
I wish I had something. I wish I could square dance. I wish I could be part of an all-male square dance group. I would love that. Wouldn't that be fun? Some of us could wear skirts, and some of us could. It would be heaven. They do in Mexico, though. If you go on YouTube and TikTok and stuff, men, especially younger men, dance with each other, and they dance very sexually with each other. And I'm always amazed because I know where they are. They're at La Faria. They're at that fair that gets set up every weekend with a couple rides. They have bolts falling out of it, and then there's a chicken fight, and then the mariachi come out, and then there's dancing. And it's all inside this metal kind of fencing thing. And each one, Corona has one, and across the way is the other beer company, and they all have beer specials. And you look at the crowd, and you go and you sit in this one. But when the dancing starts, the people don't change. They don't go, oh my God, those homos are dancing. They're just still dancing too. And they're all just watching. And there doesn't seem to be anybody throwing bricks at them or anything. And I just think, well, ain't that the way it should be?